Namo Buddhaya, welcome back to Buddhism for Beginners YouTube channel. So, boys and girls, throughout the episodes of Jataka tales, we've been learning how compassionate our Supreme Buddha was, like what great qualities he possessed, like even as a bodhisattva, and how our bodhisattva went out of his way to help others, even the Supreme Buddha, how much he helped others, like how he used to travel far away places just to help one person, right? So like even today's story is about how our Supreme Buddha helped a mother and son to eradicate all their defilements and become an arahant, to put an end to the journey of life and death. So, boys and girls, in the Gautama Buddha's dispensation, we know there was lots of arahants, right? And there was one arahant named Kumara Kassapa. So today's story is about our Kumara Kassapa Thero and his mother. So this Kumara Kassapa Thero's mother was living in the city called Rajagaha. She was born into a very wealthy family. But she didn't want to, she didn't have this desire to get married just like the other girls. She didn't have any thoughts to, remain in the lay life. Instead, she wanted to become a nun. She wanted to ordain and try to understand this Dhamma. But guess what? She didn't get permission from his parents. When she conveyed her preference to her parents, they rejected, saying that, oh, our dear daughter, we have so much of wealth, so we cannot just give you permission to, ordain and become a nun. Like, we have looked for a very nice young man to have you married to him. So we are not going to let you get ordained. So this young woman, she had no choice but to obey to her parents, right? To fulfill their wish, which means that to get married. But fortunately, her husband was a very nice man. So he treated him very well. He was very kind, and he thought of her all the time, right? So this lady too, she was very obedient. She took care of her husband, the household, and like she lived a very peaceful life. One day, boys and girls, they were getting ready to go to a festival that was taking place in the city of Rajagaha, and everyone else, they used to get dressed with the most beautiful clothing they have, the most beautiful jewelry they have, because that was a very special festival. But this lady, she was getting dressed, like she dressed up with a very simple dress, and her husband was like kind of surprised and said to her, my dear wife, like, why are you dressing up with a very plain, like a very simple dress? Everyone else is dressing up with the most beautiful clothing and jewelry. So then this wife told to her husband, my dear husband, what's the point of decorating this body with beautiful clothes and jewelry when we have like impurities within us, right? And like there's nothing good about this body. I don't feel like decorating all these dirty things inside me with beautiful clothing and jewelry. It doesn't worth doing that, right? And this husband, like, he was quite shocked, and he said to his wife, oh, my dear wife, you talk like a nun, like someone who have gone forth and ordained. And then the wife said, yes, husband, that's what I actually wanted to do before I got married. I wanted to become a nun. And then the husband said, well, then why did you get married? If that's a great thing, right? But then why did you get married and still in this lay life? And then the wife said, my dear husband, I did seek permission from my parents, but unfortunately I didn't receive that. I didn't receive their blessings. And so if there's one thing I want in this life, that's to become in and to go forth and ordain. And then the husband said to this, so boys and girls, this husband was very kind. That's what I said, he was a very nice person. Then he asked his wife, so dear wife, are you telling me that if you get permission right now, would you go and ordain and become a nun? And then the wife, like, her eyes were wide open, and she said, so husband, of course, like, if you give me permission now, I would go and become a nun, like, right away. So her face lit up and she was very happy. The husband could see her happiness from her face. So he was very compassionate towards his wife. So he decided to bring his wife to fulfill her wish, to become a nun. So, like, but boys and girls, he didn't have an idea where to bring her, right? So he was searching for a nunnery, like a nun's monastery in nearby, and the only place he could find was one of Devadatta's monasteries where the nuns were dwelling. So he brought his wife to that place and handed over to the nunnery, and this wife was very happy, and so she was able to become a nun. So time went by, boys and girls, and her stomach started to become bigger and bigger day by day. The other senior nuns, they were kind of like wondering what's happening with her, and then so they approached her and asked, oh dear nun, we see a difference in your body, like, what's going on and what's wrong with you? And so she said, I don't know, I don't know what's going on. I know that I haven't done anything wrong in like after I became a nun. So they checked her out and then realized that she was pregnant. And this nun, she got so upset, she got so scared, and then they said she tried to tell these nuns, I didn't do anything wrong. I was married before, and then I wanted to become a nun, so my husband dropped me off here. And then so these nuns, they don't know what to do, so they decided to bring this nun to Devadatta. Now we have learned so many things about Devadatta. He's not someone with good qualities, isn't he? So somehow, so Devadatta, so they conveyed the all the information to Devadatta, and without any investigation whatsoever, Devadatta decided, this is trouble, like people are going to accuse me for wrong doing, so disrobe her and then send her out of the monastery. So the other senior nuns, they had no choice but to listen to their teacher, who is Devadatta. And then when they were trying to disrobe this nun, she pleaded to them, oh please, like, I had a very hard time becoming a nun. It was my desire, it was my only wish, so please don't disrobe me, please take me to see the Buddha instead. So these nuns, boys and girls, even they were kind of nice, although they were residing under Devadatta. So they agreed. They brought her to the Supreme Buddha. Now our Supreme Buddha, who can see everything, who knows everything about each and every person, knew, now this is this baby is from a husband, she hasn't done anything wrong, but other people don't know about it, right? So they might accuse this nun for engaging in sexual misconduct, doing wrong things, right? So Supreme Buddha wanted to clarify everything, so no one would raise their finger at this nun ever again. So he called the king Pasenadikosol, and then Anepedusitutuma and Vishaka, who were the chief lay disciples at the monastery at the time. And then, boys and girls, so Supreme Buddha instructed Vishaka, Supreme Buddha explained the situation and instructed Vishaka to check like the nun. So Vishaka took her away to a very private place, and then checked, investigated when she got conceived, and how long she has been ordained, and like things like that. All the information they needed to clear all these doubts. So and then she conveyed this matter, like all the information she found out, to Arahant Upali, who was the foremost in the discipline. And then Upali Thero conveyed the message to our Supreme Buddha. And boys and girls, everything was clear. This nun was clear, and then everybody knew, okay, so this nun hasn't done anything wrong after she ordained. She was conceived before she became a nun. So Supreme Buddha then sent her to one of the nunneries under the Supreme Buddha. And so she was there, she had the baby there, and then one day, boys and girls, this baby was crying out loud, and the King Kosala, Pasenadi Kosala, happened to go by that nunnery, the nuns' monastery. And then when he heard this baby's noise, and then he asked his servants, like, what is that, why there's a baby crying from the nunnery? Who is that? What's going on? And then the servants explained to the king, oh dear king, so this was the baby that was born to the nun who was helped by the Supreme Buddha when Devadatta expelled her from his monastery. So and then the King Pasenadi Kosala thought, oh, so this is going to be a burden for a nun, right? Like, because the girls have gone forth and have become nuns to eradicate suffering, to attain the enlightenment, right? So this is going to be an obstacle for this nun. So why don't we bring the baby to the palace and raise him there? So and then they took the baby, and he was named as Kashyapa. Because he was raised in the palace, he was named Prince Kashyapa, which means Kumara Kassapa. And boys and girls, at the age of 7, this Prince Kashyapa, Kumara Kassapa, he went to the Jeta's monastery and became a monk. And within a very short period of time, this Kumara Kassapa Thera became an Arahant. And not only him, even his mother was able to eradicate all the defilements and became an Arahant. And boys and girls, the monks, they were amazed, like how wise our Supreme Buddha was, and how fortunate this mother and the son were, right? Because out of compassion, Supreme Buddha was able to help them. Now they have eradicated all the suffering. There's no birth for them again, right? And then when they were discussing about that, Supreme Buddha arrived in the Dhamma hall. And then these monks conveyed their happiness, their happy thoughts to the Supreme Buddha. And then the Supreme Buddha said, because not only in this life, even in a previous life, I was able to save this mother and son from danger. And then all the monks, they were delighted, and then they asked the Supreme Buddha to tell the story. So and then, boys and girls, Supreme Buddha, as usual, out of compassion to all beings, revealed the previous life of Arahant Thera Kumara Kassapa and his mother. A long time ago, there lived a king named Brahmadatta. So at the same time, our Bodhisattva Supreme Buddha was born into a deer family. And this Bodhisattva deer, he had a golden color skin, and so he was named as Nigrodha. And not only that, boys and girls, he had 500 other deers around him as in a group. And at the same time, there was another deer. He was named as Saka. His skin color was same as our Bodhisattva, golden color, and he also had 500 deers around him. And so the King Brahmadatta, boys and girls, he had this craving to eat deer meat every single day for every single meal. But this was a headache for the people in the village, in the city, because they have to go hunting every single day, because the king wouldn't eat his meals without meat, right? So they decided one day, all the villagers decided to like come up with a plan, so they don't have to go to the forest every single day to find to kill an animal. So they came up with a plan to build a fence surrounding an area between the forest and the king's garden. So what they did was they grew beautiful grasses, made ponds, and made it very appealing to the deers. And the king was all like very happy with the idea too. And then, so after finishing this, they opened the gate towards the forest, so the deers would come inside the fence, because they don't know that this is a trap for them, right? And then so many deers came inside that fence, boys and girls, including those two golden colored deers, Nigrodha and Saka. So because these two were beautiful, they were golden color, the king didn't feel like killing them, so he let them go. He didn't want to kill them or take them as meat. But the other deers, they would kill one a day. If you have seen deers physically, like in person, you might know that like they get scared even to the tiniest sound you make. They're very scared of humans. So when the king or the cooks came to kill deers every day, one a day, these deers were running around, because the king and his mates, they use bow and arrows to kill them, right? And when the deers were running around, not just one deer, so many others were wounded, and eventually they died. And then so these deers went to their group leaders, Nigrodha and Saka, and said to them, so this is what's been happening. So so many deers die at once because of this. We need to do something about it. And then the two leaders decided, okay, so we are going to make a line, and one deer a day, so one from each group for each day. So one day one of Nigrodha's deer would go and sacrifice itself, and the other day one of Saka's deers would sacrifice itself. So in that way, only one deer would die, right? And then so they were doing that. And boys and girls, so in this Saka's group, boys and girls, there was a female deer. We call them doe, right? So she was pregnant. She had a baby deer inside her womb. So because she was carrying a baby, like a baby deer inside her, she didn't want to sacrifice both of them to the king. So she went to her leader Saka and said, dear leader, I'm about to give birth to my baby. Can you please help me? Can I have some more time until I deliver my baby? So after that, my son and I both will take turns, sacrificing ourselves. But this Saka, the deer, the group leader, he was not compassionate at all, boys and girls. He said, you know what? I don't care if you're pregnant or whatever. It's your turn. You need to go and, take your turn. I'm not going to do anything about it. So he was furious. And then so she was very sad, didn't know what to do. And then she approached the other group leader, who is Nigrodha, the Bodhisattva deer. And then she said to him, dear leader, so I'm carrying a baby. Please excuse me for today. I will take another turn. Not just myself, my son and I both will take turns on different days. Just give me time until my baby comes out. And this Bodhisattva deer, out of compassion, he said, don't worry, I will find someone else. And then, boys and girls, so, he didn't look for anyone else. He went to where the cooks were killing the deers, right? So, and he went and kept his neck. And then the butchers, when they saw this golden colored deer, they were quite shocked, and they reported this to the king. And then this King Brahmadatta asked his deer, oh dear friend, I had freed you from getting killed. So why are you here? And then the Bodhisattva deer explained to the king, oh dear king, so it was one of the doors turned today, but she's pregnant, she's carrying a baby, and she had asked me whether she could, someone else could go instead of her, and she will take another turn because she needed time until she gives birth to her baby deer. But dear king, I cannot give suffering to someone else because of her, so I thought to come and offer my life for the king. And then this King Brahmadatta, boys and girls, he was shocked. He said to this Bodhisattva deer, my friend, even a human wouldn't do such a thing, that what you have done as an animal, even a human wouldn't do that. So like the king had a very pleasant mind towards this Bodhisattva deer, and then he freed not only the Bodhisattva, also that doe who was pregnant. And then the Bodhisattva didn't stop there, boys and girls. He didn't only save himself and the doe. He said, oh my dear king, just like myself and the doe, all the other deers that are here, they also love to be freed and live a peaceful life. They don't want to sacrifice themselves. So they all love to live a peaceful life. And then the King Brahmadatta, boys and girls, he was like even more amazed, like how compassionate the Bodhisattva deer was. And then he said, very well, I will free all of them. So not only Bodhisattva's deer's group, even the Saka's group, they were all freed. And then so Bodhisattva kept on going, talking about the birds in the sky, the fishes in the ocean, so on and so forth, because Bodhisattva said to the king, everybody loved to live in peace. Everyone loved to be free from suffering, be free from fear, right? So this king, boys and girls, he let go of all the animals. He, in fact, stopped killing all beings. And boys and girls, the King Brahmadatta didn't stop there. He said, oh, dear friend, please advise me. I will do anything. I will do everything as you say. Please advise me. And then, boys and girls, our Bodhisattva deer advised the King Brahmadatta to provide protection through Dhamma to parents, wife and children, all the citizens and all the beings. And then the Bodhisattva said that merit, the merit you gain by providing protection through Dhamma will be enough for King Brahmadatta to be born in a heavenly realm in his next life. So this King Brahmadatta took Bodhisattva deer's advice to his heart and lived according to those advices. So he freed all the beings. He stopped killing all the animals, and then freed all the deers that was fenced in the courtyard in the palace's garden. And people were so amazed by this. And boys and girls, after a while, this the doe, the pregnant doe, gave birth to a beautiful baby deer. And then they all lived very happily. But boys and girls, you know what happened? Like the deers who were freed from the king's palace, they just went everywhere, like doing, behaving as they wish, and destroying, like the harvest and paddy fields, and eating whatever they can find. And then the people were kind of upset, and they asked the king, what's going on? Like, they are just all over the place. And then the king said, oh, my dear citizens, I have completely let go of killing beings, and I'm not going to do anything to harm them, because I have promised my friend that I'm going to free them. I'm going to let them live peacefully. And this king, the deer king, Nigrodha, he heard that. He heard the complaints of the people and the king's response to it. And then he gathered all of his members, the other deers, and instructed them not to go to the paddy fields to eat any crops. So he prohibited all of his mates from going into the paddy fields to eat crops. And then also the deer instructed the people to put a fence around their paddy fields with leaves. And so the deers know, okay, so this area is not for us. So they have their limits. It's off limit, right? So, and then boys and girls, they also did so. And all the humans, all the animals, they all lived very happily and peacefully. So after telling this story, the Supreme Buddha revealed that at the time, the King Brahmadatta was our Ananda Bhante, and the doe, and the baby was the Kumara Kasupatero and his mother, and Nigrodha was myself, and Saga was none other than our Devadatta. See, boys and girls, even as an animal, our Bodhisattva had such a compassion towards everyone. He didn't only think about himself. He could have easily saved his life and go to the forest and live happily. But he didn't do so. Even after the king freed him, he still made sure he's going to provide whatever the protection to his mates. What can we learn from this as humans? We also need to make sure not to be selfish. Instead, we need to learn to be selfless. And whenever we have an opportunity to look after the people around us, to make sure the well-being of others. I hope the boys and girls who have learned the story today will take the life lesson from the Supreme Buddha's life and apply those qualities into your lives. May you all be well and happy. May the Triple Gem bless you. Namo Buddhaya.